Hello everyone, welcome to ChessVisor, your wise choice to improve your chess. In today's video, I am going to show you a very interesting and a short game played between SL Narayanan and Aravindh Chithambaram. And this was played in MPL Indian Chess Tour Leg 3 and it was actually round number 12. So here Narayanan was handling white pieces and Aravindh was handling the black pieces. So before we check this game, if you are watching this channel for the first time, please consider subscribing to the channel and press the bell icon to get notified for the future videos. So here Narayanan goes 1d4 and Aravindh Chithambaram replies with the move pawn g6. And all of a sudden with the second move itself it is transposed into a modern defense. We have e4, bishop g7, knight c3, we have d5 hitting the center, we have knight takes d5. Interesting move. And after c6 the knight drops back and then Aravindh Chithambaram picks the pawn on d4. So here both of them they have simply exchanged the d pawn. After the queen exchange, we have bishop takes d4. After this, knight f3 hitting the bishop and bishop goes back to g7. So after this move, he plays c3, shutting this diagonal to shut this diagonal for the dark square bishop. So he plays knight f6, developing a piece and also comes with the tempo. So bishop d3, natural move. Knight a6 and we have e5 hitting the knight. And we have knight to g4 and now the pawn is now hit twice, so he goes knight c4 and in this position Aravindh plays the move knight c5. Instead of that, he could have tried pawn b5 to immediately kick the knight, and once the knight drops to a3 Aravindh could have played this move knight takes e5 and then knight takes e5. We have bishop takes e5, bishop e3, knight c7, and already black is kind of better. So going back in this position, Aravindh plays the move knight c5 and so here he plays bishop e2, dropping the bishop from the danger. So here he plays bishop e6, developing again. Instead of that, in this position also he could try the same move, that is b5, and the knight can go to a3. I am going to show you this long variation which is very interesting. So knight takes e5, knight takes e5, bishop takes e5, we have bishop e3 developing and hitting the knight. So bishop d6, bishop takes c5, bishop takes c5, and we have bishop f3 hitting the pawn. So bishop b7, and now we can play the move knight takes b5. Interestingly, black can castle on the queen side and defend the bishop. And after that, the knight has to drop back. In the ending, we have bishop takes a3, b takes a3, and now white has this ruined pawn structure, and that is the point of showing with this long variation. Actually, white cannot win a pawn like that unless until he wants to ruin his own pawn structure. But earlier he could have played the b5 idea. So but in the game he plays bishop e6, develops and attacks the knight, and that's also defended, no problem. So bishop f4 defending further, knight to d7 attacking the same piece again, the pawn again and again. So we have knight a5 going after the b7 pawn, and knight g takes e5, knight takes e5, bishop takes e5, bishop takes e5, and then knight takes e5. After this, knight takes b7, we have rook b8. And after this, he plays knight c5 hitting the e6 bishop, and we have rook takes b2. So here already black is better here, and only thing is he needs to castle and bring the other rook into the game, and otherwise is far better than white when we compare both position. So we have knight takes e6 and so we have a lot of pawn weaknesses on black's perspective now. So we have two isolated pawns and a double pawn, and it is okay to have this pawn structure because the king can help these pawns in the ending. So after f takes e6, he plays the move pawn f4 hitting the knight, and the knight goes to f7. And here the natural way to play the position is to simply put the bishop on f3, so to simply attack the c6 pawn. And here he blunders the game by playing king d7, and you can pause the video and try to find the winning move for SL Narayanan, and it is just a 20-second move. And I hope you found this move, that is castling on the queen side wins the game immediately because the rook is kind of hanging without any defense. So in this position actually Aravindh Chithambaram resigns the game. In case if the game has to continue, let's say knight d6, it's actually going to be a very long ending. But after king takes b2, rook b8 check, we can go king a1, king c2, any move can work here. So let's say king c2, rook b5, and we can play rook he1. The point of putting the rook on e5 is to simply target this pawn with the idea of bishop g4 later. Rook a5 attacking the pawn, king b2, rook b5 check, and then king a1. We have rook c5 targeting another weakness, and we have rook to d3, h5 stopping g4 idea, bishop g4 idea. And now after rook e5 he plays black could play rook c4, and now g3. So this, as I was mentioning, this is going to be a very long endgame, so I wanted to show you this few variations, that's all. It was a nice game by SL Narayanan, and after 15th round actually he won the tournament with 28 points, and now he has got an opportunity to play this upcoming Julius Baer Generations Cup. So I wish him all the best, and if you enjoy my commentary, please do like this video, and still if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel ChessVisor, please consider subscribing to the channel and press the bell icon to get notified for the future videos. As usual, this is ChessVisor, your wise choice to improve your chess.